Now, Chapter 1, the fashion show Meet Cute, dual POV. Her. Background decor walks into a runway. Come on, you need this, Leela insists, tugging my arm like she's reeling in a reluctant trout. I need groceries, I say, digging my heels into the pavement, as if that will slow a woman in stilettos. What I don't need is to be judged by people who wear sunglasses at night because they've forgotten what humility looks like. That's the spirit, she chirps, flashing 2 glossy invitations like golden tickets. Besides, you look incredible. That dress was born to scandalize a chandelier. I found it in a thrift bin labeled mystery fabrics. If it unravels, I'm blaming you. Inside, the venue glows like a champagne bottle. Gold light spills over black marble floors, and the crowd moves in gently predatory swirls. Stylists, photographers, people who speak in brand names and abbreviations. I try to become one with the wall. Don't do that, Leela hisses. You're not a coat rack. Shoulders back. Smile like you know the designer personally and also their dog. I'm perfectly content as an elegant shadow, I say. It's my signature vibe. Careful, you'll dent the wall. The voice comes from my left. Low, amused, and annoyingly warm. I turn. A man leans against the corner like he invented it. Tall, tailored, but not in the aggressive way most of this room is. His tie is a touch loose, like he's already negotiated a peace treaty with the idea of perfection. I'm fine, I tell him, pretending my pulse didn't just pick up like it heard a dance beat. I'm blending in. You're doing a dreadful job of that, he says, mouth curving. You look like you belong here. That's a bold and generous lie. I'm here on a scholarship. He holds out a hand. Ethan, I manage things. Like what? I ask. Because the universe has handed me an opening, and I've never met a door I didn't test. Mostly chaos, occasionally people, rarely ferns if they act up. So a glorified babysitter. On my business card, he says, it reads Manager of Dreams, but only because Wrangler of Fires that look like meetings didn't fit. I shake his hand. It's warm, steady, like he has a subscription to being unbothered. I'm Noor, I say. I fold sweaters for a living and dream of clothing that lets actual human beings breathe. Then this, he gestures at the room, is either inspiration or a cautionary tale. Why choose? Leela reappears with 2 bubbles. Who's this? Manager of Chaos, I report. I prefer Manager of Dreams, Ethan corrects, earning himself Leela's sparkly approval before she vanishes toward the runway again. So, he asks, what do you think of the brand? They make beautiful things, I say, because I am not here to roast anyone on an open flame. But sometimes it feels like the CEO has forgotten regular humans exist and only designs for museum mannequins who never need to sit. Something flickers behind his eyes. Humor, maybe, or data being filed away. You sound like you've met him. I've worked retail, I say. I know the type. Suits that cost more than rent and coffee that requires a sommelier. He tilts his head. And you? I dodge shoplifters, worship pockets, and want to start a line that doesn't make people feel invisible. I like that, he says softly, like he might wrap the words and keep them. The lights dip. The room hushes. A voice announces the show's start, and suddenly the runway is a river of light. Want the best view? He murmurs. As long as it doesn't involve me pretending to understand microgreens. He guides me to a balcony where the city glitters beyond glass. Below, models gather like a flock of swans in sequins. He leans close, but not too close, the respectful distance of a man who knows where his orbit ends. They work hard for this, he says, not to impress me, just to say it. Everyone does, I answer. From the person who ordered the thread to the person who's going to steam that dress because it panicked in the elevator. The first look floats out. I feel myself leaning forward. He notices. You like it, he says. I like the part where you can still see the hand, I admit. The sketch under the gloss. So you like things that feel real. Yes, and priced below 3 months of rent. Confetti falls at the end. 1 star lands in my hair. He reaches, pauses, asks with his eyes. I nod. He plucks it gently. Proof you were here, he says. Souvenir accepted. Leela waves from the exit like a traffic marshal. I should go, I tell him. He slips a small card into my hand. Just a number. No name. The audacity. Text me, he says. In case of overpriced coffee or judgmental plants. Tempting, I reply. Though what I mean is dangerously tempting. Outside, as the city blurs past the car window, I trace the edge of his card and hate how much I want to keep it. Ethan, manager of chaos, apparently. Max says I have terrible timing. I say timing is a wave. Catch it or drown looking dignified. I'd come out here tonight to work, shake hands, say the right things into the right microphones. Then I watched a woman try to become a wall and fail spectacularly. She didn't know how bright she looked. It was refreshing. Careful, you'll dent the wall, I said before I could help myself. She turned. Noor. Of course her name would feel like a secret you only tell people who earn it. She joked. She remained unimpressed. When she called my CEO persona an overpaid robot in an Italian suit, every endangered instinct in me purred. She hadn't recognized me, or if she had, she didn't care. Either way, the room got less noisy. Manager of chaos, I told her, and it wasn't entirely untrue. I do manage chaos. I just fund it first. When the show began, I took her to the balcony, because the balcony is where I remember why I love this job. The view is honest, the seams show. She noticed them, the human hands, the steamers, the elevators that make silk sweat. Most people only notice the finale. I wanted to keep her there a little longer. But the universe always sends someone with a headset. So I gave her my number, a simple thing, a little game, and watched her leave with the confetti star still shining in her hair. Back at the floor, Vanessa drifted close, all perfect lines and PR perfume. You disappeared, she said. I was on the balcony, I answered, eyes scanning the crowd even as I played the necessary parts. Watching the show. Alone? Not exactly. She smiled, the way people smile when they've already written your answer in a press release. Of course not. Max materialized the second she moved away. You look like a man who found a pocket of oxygen, he murmured. Possibly, I said. Name? He asked. I'll tell you when it's something, I said, and that was how I knew it already. Senior. Correct. Noor had liked it a little loose. I left it that way for the drive. At midnight, I texted. I pretended it was about ferns. She answered like it was about oxygen. We agreed to an honest coffee and to a rule about spinach in teeth. Because sometimes the fastest way to a person's real self is a small, ridiculous treaty. The next morning, Max tapped his watch as if he controlled time. You have 3 vendor calls, he said, and a board briefing where you will smile like a human who sleeps. I'll behave, I lied. And then I'm leaving the building at 11:50. You never leave the building at 11:50, he said. Watch me. He did. At 11:50, I walked out with my tie a touch loose and my phone ready for a woman who says things like, I worship pockets, and means it. Her honest coffee and other dangerous ideas. Palma Cafe smells like roasted almonds and risk. He is already there when I walk in. Same warm mouth, tie slightly askew, the human version of a well-made playlist. You came, he says, like he wasn't sure I would. You promised no spinach trials, I say, sliding into the seat. And I needed a break from folding sweaters that shed their will to live. 2 honest lattes, he tells the server, then looks at me. I don't know what that means, but I want to live in a world where our coffee doesn't lie. An honest latte never pretends to be a meal, I say. It knows it's a beverage and behaves. Then we're aligned, he says, smiling not just at my face, but at the thought behind it. Tell me one thing you want this month. Rent paid, I answer, and a sewing machine that doesn't smoke when I ask it to be brave. Someone who laughs before I finish the joke, he says. You can draft me, I reply. And it's too easy. And it's fine, because maybe easy isn't a trap every time. He asks about my sketches and doesn't flinch when I admit I'm afraid to hit send on job applications. He asks like he plans on celebrating the day I do. He doesn't try to fix me. He does make a note, literal, on a napkin, that says, pay interns, which earns him a suspicious look and a laugh I didn't mean to let out loud. Max appears midway through like a plot device with eyebrows. Head is marketing, he announces to me while shaking my hand. I'm stealing him in 10 minutes. Return policy? I ask. Generous if he eats, Max says. Lies, Ethan murmurs. I schedule chewing. When Max leaves, there's a noticeable drop in noise. Ethan leans in a little, like the cafe belongs to us. So, he says, casual voice, focused eyes. Same time Friday? Maybe, I say, because I am a responsible adult who does not fall for men who feel practiced and comfortable inside expensive rooms. Then I'll text a tentative plan, he says, the kind of sentence that has never sounded charming from anyone else. At the bus stop, I tell him he's the nicest manager I've met. He gets this look, quick and unreadable, then says, sometimes my CEO listens. Tell him interns need real pay, I say. Consider it sent, he replies. As the bus hisses up, I do the irrational thing. Walk me a little more, I ask. He looks absurdly pleased. I thought you'd never ask. We pass a window with a gown that looks like a night sky domesticated. He tells me to try it. I tell him I'll do it when I'm brave enough to hit send. He says, send, like a spell. Ethan, a confetti star, a number, a beginning. I have a rule, avoid grand gestures until you're sure a small one will do. So I give her space. I send jokes about plants with lawyers. I show up on time. I remember the exact way she said the word real, and I try to match it. In the office, Vanessa teases, you're smiling at your phone like a teenager who discovered emojis. Let me have my era, I tell her. Later, in the quiet of my top-floor office, the one Noor would call expensive decisions, I stand by the window and practice restraint. Titles are loud. I want the soft version first. The balcony, the honest latte, the confetti star I took from her hair and slipped into my pocket like an idiot. Max knocks. Board wants the Q3 summary 5 minutes earlier than planned, he says, then looks up. You're holding a piece of glitter. Evidence, I say, tucking it away. Proof I was where I wanted to be. Which was not in this office, he says dryly. Not for that hour, I admit. He studies me, then laughs. Good. It's been a while since you looked like you remembered you're a person. I don't tell him that the person I'm trying to be is one Noor might believe, long before she finds out the rest. I don't tell him that I'll plan to pace the reveal like a careful hen. One stitch at a time, no tugging. Instead, I straighten my tie, pick up the deck, and go downstairs to speak fluent shareholder. When I come back up, there's a message waiting. You survived the plant attack? She's written. Barely, I type. The firm has counsel. Her reply is immediate. Tell the firm I charge for wardrobe consultations. I smile at the screen like a teenager and decide this is how Chapter 1 ends. Not with fireworks, but with a small, perfect treaty between two people who prefer honest coffee, real seams, and jokes that land before the punchline. Chapter 2. Honest Coffee. New Rules. Dual POV. Her. Terms and conditions. No spinach, no grand gestures. At 11:56 a.m., the cafe door chimes, and I realize I'm early by 4 minutes and nervous by a lifetime. I rearrange the sugar packets like tarot cards. 2 blue, 1 brown, a raw cube that looks like it resents being domesticated. Ethan walks in with that relaxed orbit that makes space for people instead of cutting through them. He spots me, and there it is, the small smile that suggests he's relieved I exist in the same room as his coffee. You came, he says, like he wouldn't have hunted me down with a search party and a tasteful flashlight. You promised honesty, I reply. It's rare, like a dryer that doesn't eat socks. He sits, loosens his tie by exactly 1 humanizing millimeter, and waves the server over. 2 honest lattes, please. And whatever makes the kitchen proud, but won't get stuck in our teeth. No spinach, I add. House rule. Noted. He taps the table with a fingertip, an unconscious rhythm. So, updates. Did you hit send on any of those applications? I hovered, I confess. Then I remembered I pay rent with folding and patience. He nods, thoughtful, not pushy. We'll celebrate the day you hover less. We, I echo, arching a brow. Bold of you to assume future dessert privileges. Cautious optimism. He says, one of my more annoying traits. The lattes arrive wearing their foam like hats that know they're ridiculous. He rests his forearms on the table. Give me your non-negotiables, he says. For life, for work, for this. He gestures between us, careful and brave at once. Pockets, I say immediately, in clothing and conversations, and kindness, even when it's unglamorous. Also, no dating men who treat attention like currency. He absorbs that without flinching. Deal. My turn. No performative cruelty, no ghosting, no pretending to be less serious than I am, just because it makes other people comfortable. The server sets down 2 pastries. I break mine, watch a wisp of steam rise. You sound practiced, I tease. I sound like a man who has learned the wrong lessons before, he answers, and there's a quiet to it that earns my respect. We trade small truths to see if the table will hold them. I tell him my worst retail story, holiday rush, a tower of sweaters, an avalanche that almost got its own news segment. He tells me he once set off a sprinkler system during a product demo and pretended it was a feature. Chaos manager, I say, raising my cup. Dream wrangler, he counters, tapping mine. My phone buzzes. Emma, are you charming or being charmed? I type under the table. Yes. Ethan catches my grin. Approve from your board? My sister is not a board, I say. She's a benevolent monarchy with strict opinions about fiber intake. Invite me to dinner, he says lightly, like a test balloon. Someday, I say, like I'm not already imagining him at our wobbly kitchen table, complimenting Emma's salad like it negotiated world peace. He pays before I can weaponize my card. Outside, the city is loud in the optimistic way. We walk without planning to. Confession, I say. I'm allergic to being impressed by titles. Confession, he returns. I'm allergic to people who need me to use mine. We stop at the corner. He looks at the crosswalk, like it might offer legal advice. Friday, he says. Same time? Fine, I answer, but only if we establish an additional rule. He brightens. A new clause? No gifts. I point at his wrist where his watch probably knows more about time than I do. No expensive distractions, not even pretty small ones. Brutal, he says, but he's smiling. Accepted. I learn later, he will break it. I will pretend I'm mad longer than I am. Foreshadowing tastes like candied almonds. It always does. Ethan, the rule about gifts that I will inevitably fail. Honest coffee is my favorite kind of theater. 2 people, 1 table, props you can eat. No orchestra except the hiss of milk and the door chime. If you listen closely, you can hear when a person decides to believe you a little. Nora believes me in inches. She gives trust like it's hand-sewn, slow, precise, meant to last. I don't touch it. I stand near it with my palms up. Non-negotiables? I ask, because frameworks are how I behave when the stakes are secretly high. Her answers show me a blueprint. Pockets, kindness. No attention as currency. I can do that. More accurately, I can want to do that, and then keep choosing it. We walk after, because walking makes it easier to be brave with your mouth. On the corner, she says no gifts, and I agree, because I want to be chosen without the assist of packaging. But later, a scarf will look exactly like her laugh, and I'll rationalize a loophole. I'll call it a thank you. I will be wrong, and she will let me live. Back at the office, I pass Vanessa in the lobby. She matches pace, phone to ear, mouth in PR neutral. Lunch with a vendor? She asks between sentences. She knows it wasn't. Lunch with oxygen, I say. She peels off toward the elevators with a half grin. Max meets me before the doors close. Board moved your update to 3. Also, legal wants cleaner language on the returns policy, and Ops is afraid the new dye batch sulks in humidity. Tell Ops the dye is allowed to have feelings as long as it shits, I say. Then add, schedule 30 minutes for me with the internship program lead. I want to review comp. Max blinks, then smiles like a coach whose player suddenly remembered how to pass. Copy that. There's a window in my office where the city looks manageable. I stand there, recalling the precise angle of Noor's smile when she said someday to dinner. It wasn't a no, it was a promise with a work-back plan. I text, staying alive post-Fern negotiation. Her bubble appears. Tell the Fern I can hem its fronds for a fee. I laugh, the undignified kind the board doesn't see. Then I open a doc labeled, Little Things Noor Said, because remembering is a form of respect. Her. A boutique, a boundary, a blue silk problem. There's a boutique I pass on my way to the bus. The window dress has opinions. Today it displays a scarf, dyed the exact late summer blue of a good secret. I pause. Fool's errand. The bell chimes anyway. I touch the silk and feel the ridiculous softness of a thing made by human hands that weren't paid enough. This is trouble, I tell the scarf. That color suits you, a voice says behind me. I turn. Ethan, of course. Of course he appears when I am weakest in the fabric district. You're not allowed in here, I say. We just passed a rule. Observation only, he promises, palms visible like he's entering a museum. He doesn't get closer. He lets me try it on in the mirror while looking at me in the mirror, which is somehow worse and... It's rent, I counter, unwinding it, which I intend to continue paying. Then we leave it for another day, he says, and I love him, too strong, retract, soften slightly for how easily he says it. We walk out together. 10 steps later, a clerk appears in the doorway with a small bag and an expression that suggests mischief is a team sport. I glare at him. I glare at Ethan harder. You didn't, I say. I did, he says, managing to look both guilty and pleased. Consider it not a gift. There's no such category, I inform him, refusing the bag. Return it. I can't, he says. I told them it was a rescue mission. Return it. He holds my gaze, then sighs, then softens. I'll exchange it for store credit under your name. You can use it when you want, or never. This is annoyingly reasonable. Fine, I say. Store credit. No surprises. Deal. His smile says he has learned the vocabulary of deal in my language. We reach my bus stop. He doesn't push. Text me when you get home, he says, or text me a photo of the most dramatic bus passenger. Those are trade secrets, I say, then add, I'll text. The bus wheezes up. My heart, traitor that it is, watches him through the smudged window until he shrinks into a man-sized idea. Ethan, Max, a slip, and the sound of suspicion. Max invites me to a late lunch because he knows if he doesn't, I'll eat emails. We end up at a cafe 2 blocks from HQ. He has that face like he's about to pitch me something disguised as gossip. She's good for you, he says, stabbing a fork into pasta. Who, I ask, because I enjoy his exasperation. He rolls his eyes. The woman you're texting like a teenager. The one who says things like pockets are a human right. Noor, I say, and it feels good to say her name out loud in daylight. She should work here, Max continues. Not because you're besotted, though you are, but because she sees the seams. We need people who notice the hands. Get me a JD, I say, entry-level design ops, real pay, real mentorship, no coffee runs unless it's for themselves. Max salutes with his fork. On it, boss. Then catches himself, looks at me, and corrects, on it, manager. I shoot him a look. Careful. Right. He schools his features. Right. We're mid-banter when Noor appears, apparently summoned by narrative tension. Max stands, all charm. I make room like the table has always had a third chair in it. We talk. We eat. We pretend we are absolutely normal people with normal jobs. She laughs at something I say, and Max, drunk on carbs and honesty, blurts, "Ask the boss." and then choose the rest of the sentence like it's actionable. Noor's eyes do a very specific narrow. I talk over it, redirect. Change the subject so fast I could get a ticket. It works for now, but suspicion has a sound, and I've just tuned it. After, I walk her toward the station, buy candied almonds because apologies are better worn. For what? She asks when I hand her the small paper bag. For later, I say, and I mean it. Her, dinner with Emma, and a witness list. Emma slices cherry tomatoes like they offended her. So, she says, how is the manager of chaos? He is consistent, I say, which sounds unfair and also exactly right. He listens. He makes rules with me instead of for me. He buys scarves despite rules, and then negotiates store credit like a diplomat. Emma tries, fails, and then beams. You like him. I like how I am around him, I say. That's not the same, but it's adjacent. Bring him to dinner, she says. I need to evaluate his commitment to vegetables and responsible jokes. Someday, I repeat, and she hears the promise. My phone lights. Ethan. Do you believe in dessert before dinner? Me, trick question, dessert is dinner. Ethan. Correct answer. Friday, same time, I'll bring a new clause for our treaty. Me. If it's about ferns again, I'm billing you. Emma leans over my shoulder. He uses punctuation. Keeper. Your standards are chaotic, I tell her. They're honest, she sings, and flounces into the living room, smug. Ethan. A clause, a balcony, a thread to pull. Friday arrives dressed like the city decided to be forgiven. I draft my clause in the elevator. No disappearing. If life gets loud, we send one sentence. Noor reads it, nods slowly, and writes under it on the napkin. No theatrics. We don't use silence as a stunt. Agreed, I say, and mean it down to the bone. We walk after coffee, because that's where we are honest by accident. I take her up to a public roof, where the skyline is a row of teeth, and the wind edits you. She leans into the railing. Hair lifting, just enough to make me think unshareable thoughts. This is where I come to remember the point, I say, surprising myself. What's the point? She asks. Make beautiful things without pretending people are accessories, I answer. Pay the hands. Don't lie with the lighting. She turns to look at me like something in her map just reoriented. I know you joke about managing dreams, she says, but sometimes it sounds like you actually do. I try. The truth of it sits cleanly between us. Her phone buzzes. She checks it and frowns. My shift, she says. Retail calls. I'll walk you, I say. Outside her store, we stop by the window, where a mannequin wears a dress that looks like it would rather talk about itself than fit. Noor adjusts the hem with a quick professional flick. There, she says. Less smug. I'm hiring you, I blurt, before I can behave. She blinks. To humble mannequins professionally, to tell us where the real seams are, I say, softer. Soon, when it's right. She studies my face like she's measuring sincerity. Whatever she sees earns me an almost smile. Send me a job description, she says. I'll hover. Then I'll stand there and say, send, I promise. She steps back, opens the door, then pauses with her hand on the handle. One more rule, she says. If you're going to be trouble, be the kind I can explain to my sister. I nod. I'll draft a memo. She laughs, free. Surprised, like a door she didn't know was locked, just swung open. She goes inside. The bell rings. I watch her for a beat longer than is dignified. Then I text Max. Find me the best mentor for an entry design ops role. Pay them twice what they expect. He replies with a thumbs up and a skull. Translation, terrifying, excellent. Her, hook, a business card without a title. When my shift ends, there's a small envelope tucked beneath the register mat where only employees look. My name handwritten, the kind of neat that either belongs to a kind teacher or a practiced liar. Inside, a card. Not glossy, not branded. Just a number I already have, and 4 words in looping ink. No titles, just us. I should be annoyed. I should be suspicious. In. Myself, it's not a promise. Not yet. Chapter 3, Field Trip to the Glass Palace, Dual POV. Her, take your anxiety to work day. Why exactly am I here? I ask, clutching my coffee like a talisman as Lila herds me through a lobby, so shiny it probably has its own agent. Because Max needs me to drop a deck, she says, wiggling a slim folder. And because I refuse to walk into PR land alone. If the marble floors judge me, I want a witness. A witness who wore sneakers, I mutter. The elevator opens with a hiss that sounds like expensive disapproval. Your sneakers are a statement, Lila says. The statement is I have arches and boundaries. We step out into a corridor lined with framed magazine covers and awards that look like small, elegant spaceships. People move with purpose, carrying tablets and authority. Lila points. Wait here. Max is 2 doors down. If anyone asks, you're a consultant. On what? Reality, she says, and vanishes. I inhale, exhale. I practice leaning casually against a wall like I wasn't born to be background decor. A glass door opens down the hall, and then he's there. Ethan, in a suit that looks like it was tailored by a god with a gentle sense of humor. The tie is correct today. The hair is obeying. The jaw is doing that jaw thing. You clean up like a plot twist, I say. He smiles, slow. You say that as if I'm not always presentable. I've seen you negotiate with plants. Fair, he concedes, eyes warm. What are you doing here? Lila Errand, courier of sacred PDFs. I lift my coffee. Emotional support latte. You should have told me. I'd have arranged an escort. A parade? A small marching band? At least a guide who knows where the good snacks hide. Before I can retort, heels click. A woman approaches, sleek black hair, impeccable lipstick, dress that could file taxes for itself. Ethan, she says, with familiarity that makes my spine sit up straighter. Vanessa, he answers. Polite, cool, colleagues on a Christmas card. Her gaze touches me, glides on. New recruit? Friend, he says, which is both nothing and everything. Welcome, she says to me with a PR smile that is technically flawless and spiritually exhausting. She drifts away, leaving perfume and a question I pretend not to hear. I tilt my head at him. Popular. Don't start, he murmurs, amused. Vanessa runs PR. She looks at everyone like they're an interview and a crisis at once. Relatable. I jerk my chin toward a glass-walled studio. Show me the magic? He hesitates exactly 1 heartbeat, then nods, as if he's decided to be irresponsible with intent. 10 minutes. No touching samples unless they flirt with you first. We pass pinboards with fabric swatches, sketches taped like beautiful secrets, seamstresses murmuring in the kind of focus that makes time polite. I trail a respectful hand near a rack of test pieces. These are gorgeous, I breathe. If the hens are lying, I don't want to know. Some do, he says, not selling, just telling. We fix the lies before the lights hit them. There's a conference room at the far end, a glass box with sunlight, and a long table that screams important nouns. On the wall, a double-spread magazine profile, black and white. A man in a suit sits in profile, sleeves rolled, watching a city like he owns the weather. I drift toward it, compelled. Who's the jaw? I ask, squinting at the photo. Something in me twinges. The balcony, the tie, the way a person leans when they're pretending to be casual near a glass railing they pay for. Ethan says nothing for 1 breath, 2. A previous feature, he answers lightly. They like to hang their press in rooms where people are too hungry to read the small print. I turn from the wall, filing away the almost recognition. So this is where you manage things, I say, trying the words in my mouth like a new shade of lipstick. And occasionally people, he replies, then pulls a notepad toward him and sketches something terrible. A stick figure with hurricane hair and a speech bubble that says, "Save the pockets." I snort. An artist. Commission me, he says. I work in pen and hubris. Lila appears at the door, eyes widened at seeing me in a conference room like I belong. Delivery completed, she announces. Max's eyebrows say thanks. We were just consulting on reality, I tell her. Ethan tears the page free and slides it to me. Souvenir. For my gallery of crimes, I say, tucking it into my bag. As we head back down the corridor, Vanessa reappears like a well-timed plot device. Ethan, calms in 5, she says. Her eyes flick to me, curious. Will you be joining? Another time, he says, and the word another lands soft between us, like a promise. By the elevator, he leans closer, not touching. You okay? Strangely, I say. Your office hasn't eaten me yet. It won't, he says, and I believe him more than is smart. The doors open. Leela tugs me inside. Ethan's gaze catches mine until the last second. He lifts 2 fingers in a small salute, like we're both in on something unnamed. As the elevator slides down, I look at my reflection and see the same old me wearing a new kind of maybe. Ethan, don't feed the PR. I was behaving. And then Noor happened to my hallway. She stands there like she belongs, and like she might sprint, both at once. It's my favorite contradiction. I want to hand her an all-access pass and a crowd control baton. Instead, I offer 10 minutes and a tour route I use for potential investors I actually respect. Vanessa clocks her immediately, the way good PR clocks the world. New recruit? She asks, casual as a loaded headline. Friend, I say, and let the word carry its full weight. In the studio, Noor looks like someone handed her a key to a childhood fort. She reads with her fingers. The way she hovers over seams tells me more than any portfolio ever could. When she says the hems might be lying, I want to hire her and also propose. In the conference room, she drifts toward that spread. I should take it down. I don't, because part of me is always testing fate like a bored teenager. Who's the jaw? She asks. And I briefly resent my bone structure for being an employee of narrative tension. A previous feature, I say, and redirect by drawing a caricature with the grace of a raccoon. Leela returns. I give Noor the sketch because the thing about amulets is they only work if they're ridiculous. In the doorway, Vanessa reminds me I have comms. I nod. I do. I also have a woman who calls store credit a treaty. At the elevator, I tell Noor it won't eat her here. I want to add, not as long as I'm me, but titles make lies elegant. Better to do the honest version. Show up, keep showing up. Make rooms gentler. Back upstairs, Max leans in my doorway. PR asked if we're doing a holiday campaign that features Fra. On it, it should be a face that hasn't had one yet. He grins. New era looks good on you. Careful, I say. You'll spook it. He sobers. You know comms will push to parade your halo. We could sell 3 seasons on the right personal essay. Then we sell the work, I answer. If they want a jaw, there are 100 better ones downstairs pinning chiffon. He salutes. Copy. Vanessa arrives with a deck and a fragrance of deadlines. Press wants comment on the internship compensation change, she says, testing. Comment. Pay people, I say. Make it sound prettier, but not softer. She studies me. You're different this week. Possible, I allow. And the woman in the hallway? A consultant, I say, on reality. Vanessa's mouth twitches. Useful hire. She doesn't work here, I say, and don't add yet out loud. Her lunch, a slip, and the sound of a cracking mask. Max texts Lila the lunch invite that somehow becomes mine too. We end up at a cafe with outdoor tables and an optimistic lemon tree. Max is a story waiting to happen. You saved me last week, he announces, waving at me with a fork. Saved the runway. Saved my blood pressure. I owe you pasta. I don't remember saving anything, I say, accepting the menu like a legal document. You existed calmly near a zipper malfunction, he says. Heroism is sometimes about proximity. We're still laughing when a shadow joins the table. Ethan, of course, with timing like a magician. He takes the chair next to me as if the table had always been meant for 3. Coincidence? I ask. Absolutely, he deadpans. This is where all chaos managers gather to carbo load. Max smirks. He has lunch radar. Food arrives. Conversation darts. Ethan keeps steering it back to me. What kind of role would make me feel useful instead of decorative? What mentorship looks like? Whether I'd rather fight one horse-sized zipper or 100 zipper-sized horses. I'd like to work somewhere I'm not the errand run, I say. Somewhere my notes don't evaporate. You won't fetch coffee on my watch, he says, without thinking, and there's a tone in it that's not a joke. Ask the boss about that, Max says, then chokes theatrically on his water, backpedaling so hard he might dig a trench. Boss as in bossy energy, general vibe, leadership aura. Sun sign? I narrow my eyes. Ethan laughs too quickly. Conversation detours. The lemon tree sways like it's trying not to gossip. Suspicion does a small, neat somersault in my chest. I put it in a drawer, for now. After lunch, Ethan walks me toward the station. We pass a street booth selling candied almonds. He buys a paper bag and hands it to me. For the commute, he says. For the apology you're planning to need? I counter. He smiles, unbothered. Possibly. Points for efficiency, I say, and take one as the train sighs into view. Ethan, foreshadowing with almonds. Max's almost boss hangs in the air like a neon sign only I can see. Nor hears it. She files it. She will return to it with receipts. I make a note to confess on purpose before the plot does it for me. We walk. I buy almonds because sweetness helps medicine go down. She accuses me of pre-gaming an apology. She is right. I tell her so with a smile, because sometimes strategy and sincerity wear the same jacket. Back at HQ, Vanessa corners me with an RSVP list and a look. Gala next week, she says. Bring a date or bring a story. I'll bring both, I say, and the words surprise me with their lack of fear. A hallway, a portrait, a maybe. That evening, I pull Ethan's caricature from my bag and pin it above my tiny desk. Save the Pockets watches me as I draft a cover letter that refuses to sound like begging. I think of the studio's hum, the hands, the hems that lie, and the people who fix them before the lights make it permanent. I think of Vanessa's camera-ready kindness and Max's lemon tree optimism. I think of a black and white profile on a conference room wall and the way the jaw in it knew about balconies. I open a new file. Entry-level design ops, nor R. Bullet 1, sees the seams. Bullet 2, translates chaos into checklists. Bullet 3, negotiates with mannequins. My phone buzzes. Ethan, today's verdict on marble floors? Me, less scary when accompanied by a raccoon artist. Ethan, we have a few of those on payroll. Me, hire more. Ethan, working on it. I stare at the screen longer than is recommended by optometrists and decide maybe is allowed today. Ethan, hook the picture on the wall. I'm last to leave. The building at night is a ship that thinks too highly of itself. On my way out, I detour through the conference room. The profile spread stares back, an artifact of a strategy phase where I believed exposure was proof of purpose. I should take it down. I don't. Instead, I slide a post-it to the frame. A private joke only I will get. Pay the hands. Then I lock up and send one message I've been practicing into something that won't scare her. No titles tomorrow. Just coffee. I don't know why I believe the universe honors small, honest treaties. But I do. And for now, it's enough. Chapter 4. Jealousy, Jitters, and the Balcony Air. Dual POV. Her. Selective company management. The ballroom is loud. Too many mirrors, too much perfume, and people who treat champagne like job performance. Max is mid-story when I find him. Quote, so the zipper snaps, and the model's halfway down the runway, he says, miming panic with his drink. I dove like an action hero. PR still hasn't forgiven the photos. You deserve a cape, I tell him. Preferably one that doesn't unzip. He laughs, easy and warm, and that's when Ethan appears. Suit immaculate, smile technically correct, eyes definitely not. Max, he says smoothly, stealing my favorite guest? I was borrowing, Max grins. Fine, she's yours for the next story. He heads for the bar, leaving a citrus scent and an awkward silence. Ethan's hand finds the small of my back, a polite touch that feels like a claim. Come on, quieter air, he says. You just interrupted a very heroic tale. Saved you from secondhand zipper trauma. Or saved Max from finishing it, I counter. He smiles. Selective company management. That's jealousy with branding. I like efficient terminology, he murmurs, steering me toward a side hallway. It's quieter here, moonlight slipping through tall windows. So, I say, jealous? He exhales a half laugh. Maybe I just hate sharing my oxygen. That's an expensive way of saying yes. He leans against the glass, studying me. You talk to Max easily. He's easy to talk to. No mystery, no riddles. And I'm a riddle? You're a novel, I say, written in disappearing ink. For a second, he looks like he might tell me the ending. Then he just says, you'll like the next chapter. Before I can reply, music swells from the ballroom. I take a step back, steady. I need air. Let's get it properly, he says, holding the door open to the balcony. Outside, the city hums. I rest my elbows on the railing. Better, I admit. He stands beside me, close enough that our reflections blur in the window. Are you seeing anyone? He asks suddenly. I blink. That's direct. I'm not good at pretending indifference. Even when you're wearing it well? He looks at me unguarded. Not with you. And then silence, heavy with everything not said. I set down my glass. I should go before I say something unprofessional. Like what? Like you're impossible. He grins. And yet you're still here. I turn toward the door. Enjoy the rest of your gala, manager of chaos. Good night, consultant on reality. Ethan, jealousy in a suit. Max laughs too loud when she's near him. It's not his fault. She makes people lighter. Still, I catch myself cutting through the crowd like gravity got personal. I tell myself it's logistics, optics, damage control, lies all tidy. When I see her in that silver dress, logic drops its pen. She turns, smiling at Max, and I think, mine, but in the quiet, respectful sense, the kind that builds from listening, not claiming. Still, the impulse startles me. I interrupt. She glares, half amused. We walk. She teases, calls me branded jealousy, and I laugh because she's right. On the balcony, I ask if she's seeing anyone. Too blunt. I'm supposed to be better at diplomacy. She calls me impossible, and I think she might mean irresistible. She doesn't. Not yet. When she leaves, I stay by the railing, the city below glittering like a consolation prize. Vanessa finds me there, eyes sharp. Problem? She asks. Working on a solution, I say. Does it wear sneakers to formal events? Maybe, I answer, and she shakes her head. Careful, Ethan, she warns. You look human. Good, I tell her. It's about time. Chapter 5. The Slip, the Scarf, the Spark dual POV. Her. When compliments turn into clues. It's one of those bright afternoons when the city feels forgiving. Leela's busy. My inbox is mercifully quiet. And Max texts, lunch? You've earned carbs. I meet him at a small cafe with potted plants that look more confident than most people. He's already halfway through a monologue about deadlines, models, and an espresso machine rebellion. You kept me from getting roasted alive at the gala, he says, pointing his fork like a lawyer. You deserve something that isn't instant noodles. Flattery will get you dessert, I say. We're mid-banter when a familiar voice cuts in. Room for one more? Ethan asks, appearing like a plot twist in human form. Max groans. Man, do you have tracking software on her calendar? Good instincts, Ethan replies, sliding into the chair next to me. I follow the gravitational pull of honest coffee. You're shameless, I tell him. Efficient, he corrects. Why waste charm? We talk about everything and nothing. How marketing wants to rename beige. why my store's mannequins look like they owe rent, and how he once survived an office fire drill in dress shoes. He listens in that careful way that feels like focus, not performance. I like that too much. When our food arrives, Max raises his glass. To Noor, he declares. The only civilian who survived a Fashion Week crisis without demanding hazard pay. Please, I say. I'm not even on payroll. Ask the boss about that, Max says, and then stops dead. His fork freezes mid-air. A figure of speech. I look at Ethan. Boss? He laughs too smoothly. Manager of chaos, we've covered this. Right, I say, smiling. But it's the kind of smile that hides a note under the doormat for later. Something doesn't add up. Max suddenly remembers an email emergency and vanishes, leaving us in the quiet aftermath. I sip water. So, boss, huh? Max calls everyone that, Ethan says. Occupational hazard. I don't press, but the word echoes, boss. It fits him a little too well. He changes the subject. There's a market down the street. Want to walk it off? Walking off suspicion, I tease. Walking off pasta, he says. Suspicion optional. We stroll through stalls glowing with color. Painted mugs. Handmade scarves. A stand selling candied almonds that smell like warm nostalgia. He stops at one stall where a silk scarf drapes across a wooden rack. It's deep blue, the kind that makes you forgive the sky for leaving at night. He glances at me. This one looks familiar. I remember that color, I say. It's what temptation wears to work. You're allowed to like nice things. I just can't afford them, I remind him. Also, we made a no gifts clause. I remember, he says. I'm not buying it. Good. I'm reserving it, he adds, eyes twinkling. Ethan, I warn. He lifts his hands. Fine. Consider it a future souvenir of your own success. I'll keep it hostage until you hit send on that job application. That's manipulative. Motivational, he says. Different syllables. I'm laughing before I mean to. You're impossible. And yet, he says softly, you're still talking to me. We stop at my bus stop. He hands me a small paper bag of almonds before I can protest. For the commute, he says, or for forgiving me in advance. I take it, roll my eyes. You plan your apologies like calendar invites. Preparation is part of leadership, he says, too casually. The word leadership catches, like a thread snagging on fabric. When the bus arrives, he steps back, letting the door close between us. I wave. He touches his temple in that half salute I've learned means next time. And as the bus pulls away, I admit it, to myself, to the window, to the universe. I like him. Maybe too much. Maybe just enough to be terrified. Ethan. Small lies and silk threads. I should tell her. The whole truth. That the office she visited, the marble she walked on, the logo she's seen printed on every other tote bag downtown, it's mine. That I'm not the manager of chaos. I'm the man who signs its paychecks. But then she laughs. Light. Delicacy. Pure smile. Enduring words, worse message. Unguarded, and I tell myself it's not deception. It's deferral. I want her to like the version of me that isn't in headlines. Max's slip hangs in the air, heavier than it should. She caught it. I saw the spark of realization, the question she tucked away for later. She deserves better than my half-truths. I know that. Still, I stall. After lunch, I follow her at a distance, watch her stop at the same scarf stall. She's radiant in daylight, hair catching the wind, eyes lit by curiosity. When she walks away, I buy the scarf she admired, not as a gift, as a promise I haven't earned yet. Back at the office, Max corners me. That look on your face says you're building emotional debt. I'm managing it, I say. Which means you're losing. Nady, I admit. But if I win her trust first, maybe it won't feel like a loss. He sighs. You're going to tell her eventually, right? Yes, I say, before she finds out on her own. He points his fork at me like a prophecy. Timing will kill you. That night, I stare at my phone too long before typing. Friday. Honest coffee, same time. I don't add, before I run out of lies small enough to manage. When she replies, only if there's dessert, I exhale. Still safe, for now. But I can feel the thread tightening. Chapter 6. Street Markets and Almost Confessions. Dual POV. Her. Chaos in sneakers and silk. Saturday arrives warm and unpredictable. Perfect weather for bad decisions disguised as fun. Ethan texts at noon. Street Market. 2 p.m. Bring curiosity and an empty stomach. I reply, I charge extra for chaos. He sends back a thumbs up emoji followed by a fern, because of course he does. The market is alive, food sizzling, colors shouting, vendors calling out deals like carnival poets. Ethan stands by a stall, sleeves rolled, sun catching in his hair. You came, he says, handing me a lemonade. You bribed me with food. I lured you with experience. Same thing, he grins, ready to defend your honor at the ring toss. 2 minutes later, I win a goldfish. He blames physics. I blame confidence. We wander through rows of handmade trinkets, scarves, and plants. He pauses at a booth selling hand-painted mugs. Choose one, he says. I already own too many. Start a collection that means something, he says, and pays before I can protest. You can't keep breaking the no-gifts rule. I'm investing in shared assets, he replies. Mug custody is 50-50. I shake my head, laughing. You're dangerous with a credit card. And you're worse with boundaries, he says lightly, though his eyes say something deeper. We end up sharing dumplings on a bench, fingers brushing, conversation effortless. He asks about my sketches again. About what I'd design if I had the freedom. I tell him, soft fabrics, real pockets, dignity stitched in. You'd make a fortune, he says. I'd settle for rent. You'll get both. Optimist, I tease. Strategist, he corrects. I plan to fund good ideas. Like a mysterious investor? More like a friend with terrible impulse control. The light changes, pink sliding into gold. A guitarist nearby plays something hopeful and messy. Ethan stands, offers his hand. Dance with me. In public? I laugh. There's actual daylight. Exactly. No drama lighting to hide us. He's bad at dancing. Predictably, adorably bad. We both are. We trip, we laugh, and somehow it feels like the right kind of chaos. When the music ends, I'm breathless. You're ridiculous, and you're smiling, he says softly. I glance away. Don't get used to it. I already am. The air between us turns quiet, heavier. He looks like he wants to say something and doesn't. My heart beats like it knows the script. I should go, I say finally, before I forget how to leave. He nods, that half smile returning. Then go. But text me when you get home. Market law. I roll my eyes, but we both know I will. Ethan, the moment before the truth. I've been to this market a dozen times. Press events, sponsorship deals, all the staged versions. But this feels new, real. She moves through stalls like she's tasting color. Every time she laughs, I forget my last name might come with a corporation. When she wins the goldfish, I swear she glows. When she talks about her designs, I see them in my head. Her name stitched on labels, her joy on hangers. She doesn't know it yet, but I'm already building the space for her in the next collection. Quietly, carefully. I almost tell her on that bench, between dumplings and sunlight. It's my company. The words reach my teeth. Then she smiles, unguarded, radiant, and I lose my nerve. If she finds out too soon, she'll think it was pity or strategy. I need her to believe me first. When she finally leaves, I stay at the market, pretending to browse. A vendor offers me candied almonds. I buy a bag out of habit, pocket one, and smile. For later, I say, even though I don't know what later means yet. That night, her text arrives. Home, goldfish alive. You still terrible at dancing? I type, improving. Next time, no witnesses. Her reply, you're impossible. And before I can stop myself, I send, maybe. But you like impossible things. For a minute, I think she won't answer. Then, maybe I do. I stare at the screen too long, then open my notes app. The one where I store every idea I don't say out loud. I add one line, tell her the truth before the gala. Because some lies, no matter how small, can't survive a woman who sees the seams. Chapter 7. The Reveal, Dual POV. Her. When the lights hit the lie. The gala is louder than memory. Gold light, flashbulbs, people greeting each other like they're in a competition for charm. I tell myself I'm only here because Leela begged. She claims networking is exposure. I think it's an introvert's endurance test. Max spots me instantly. Perfect timing. Come on, someone wants to meet you. I groan. If this is another intern with opinions about beige. Not this time, he says, guiding me toward the stage. The crowd parts. And there he is. Ethan. Tailored perfection. Calm, smiling, and entirely out of place in my version of him. Cameras flash as someone near the mic says his full name, his full title. Ethan Cole, Chief Executive Officer. The words crash through my chest like feedback. I freeze mid-breath. He looks straight at me when applause starts. No, it can't be. He steps forward, quiet and steady, as if this reveal isn't detonating in my head. Surprise, he murmurs, voice low enough for me alone. I was hoping to tell you before this. You're the CEO? My whisper feels sharp enough to cut fabric. That's what the card says, he admits. I laugh once, short, brittle. You let me think you were a manager. You seemed more comfortable that way. So you lied. I didn't lie, he says softly. I just didn't tell you everything. Same thing, I fire back. Do you realize how humiliating this is? You let me joke about overpaid robots, and it was you. He flinches like I hit something honest. I wanted you to like me before the title got in the way. I did like you, I say, voice cracking. But I have no idea who I was liking. Max reappears, confusion in his eyes. I brush past both of them, muttering something about air, about needing space. My heels click too fast on marble. The sound feels like a countdown. Outside, the cold hits hard. I keep walking until the noise fades behind me. My phone buzzes, Ethan's name, over and over. I don't answer. When I finally reach home, Emma's waiting on the couch. One look at my face and she doesn't even ask. He's the what? The CEO, I say, of the company, the suits, the one I insulted to his face. Emma tries not to laugh, fails. You have main character energy, I'll give you that. This isn't funny. She sobers, eyes kind. No, it's not. But maybe it's not a total lie either. He hid it, sure. But maybe he wanted a clean slate. People don't give those to CEOs. I drop onto the chair. He made me feel like we were equals. Maybe that was the truth, she says gently. Even if he botched the delivery. I stare at my phone until the screen dims. I'm angry, yes. But underneath it is something worse. Disappointment. Because I believed him when he said he liked real. And maybe he did. But he still lied first. Ethan. The cost of silence. The applause is background noise. Her face is the only thing in focus. Shock. Hurt. I feel every heartbeat of it. I try to reach her, but she's already halfway to the door. Max blocks my path. Let her breathe, he warns. You dropped a grenade, man. He's right. I let the moment own me instead of managing it. Months of cautious honesty, ruined by a single withheld noun. Vanessa sidles up, voice sharp. So this is the secret I've been sensing. I'd say congratulations, but she looked ready to resign from humanity. Not helping, I mutter. When the event ends, I leave through a side door, avoiding cameras. I find the balcony where we once argued about jealousy. Same skyline, same cold air, no nor. I take out my phone. 10 drafts later, I send one message. I should have told you sooner. I was scared you'd walk away before you knew me. No reply. Hours later, Max texts. She made it home safe. Don't chase yet. I set the phone face down, stare at the city, and whisper to no one. I didn't want to be a title. But that's the thing about names. They show up whether you want them to or not. Chapter 8. The Apology and the Anson. Dual POV. Her. Peace offerings and explanations. It's been 3 days. Long enough for anger to cool. Not long enough for confusion to leave. I tell myself I'm done checking my phone. Then I check it anyway. When the knock comes, I already know it's him. Ethan stands in the doorway, hair slightly mussed, holding a paper bag that smells like comfort. Peace offering, he says. I didn't order anything. You also didn't block me, he says softly, so I took that as implied negotiation. I sigh and let him in. The bag hits the counter, releasing steam and the smell of my favorite Thai place. You bribed my forgiveness with noodles? They're extra spicy. I'm risking my dignity. Pretty sure you lost that when you lied. He nods, takes the hit. Fair. We sit opposite sides of the table, steam between us like a neutral witness. He starts first. When we met, you didn't know who I was. And for the first time in years, neither did I. I wasn't being watched or quoted or analyzed. I was just me. And I liked that too much to ruin it. You could have trusted me with the truth, I say quietly. I should have, he admits. I was afraid the title would talk louder than I could. It still does. He looks down, then back up, eyes steady. I didn't want to buy your attention, Noor. I just wanted to earn it. I believe him, which makes it worse. I push my food around the container, searching for a reason to stay mad. You made me feel small, I say finally. Because you made me think we were standing in the same place. I wanted you to know that I see you there, he says, even if the world doesn't yet. Do you always talk in sound bites? Only when I mean them. I almost smile. You're exhausting. I've heard. And I hate that I still want to forgive you. He exhales, half a laugh, half relief. That sounds like a maybe. It's not a yes, I warn. Maybe's better than silence. He pushes a small box across the table. Inside is the blue silk scarf, the same one. I kept it, he says, not as a gift, as proof that I wanted to remember you before I earned the right to. I brush the fabric with my thumb. You're terrible at following rules. He leans forward. Make new ones with me. The room goes quiet. I realize I'm smiling despite myself. Rule 1, no lies. Deal. Rule 2, if you ever pull a CEO stunt again, I get veto power. Understood. And Rule 3, I say hesitating. No pretending you're not in love with me, just because it's complicated. His eyes soften. I'll try not to. When he stands, I expect goodbye. Instead, he crosses to me slow, giving me time to step away. I don't. He reaches out, fingertips brushing mine. So is this the part where I apologize again? This is the part where you shut up, I say, and pull him down for a kiss. It's hesitant, warm, real. The kind of kiss that says we're both still learning how to stay. When we finally part, he grins. That felt like a yes. Don't push it, I warn. Never, he says. At least until dessert. I laugh. Finally, really laugh. You're incorrigible. And you're worth every rule I broke. Ethan, no titles, just us. She kisses like someone who's both forgiving and cautious. Like she's writing a new story, and I'm lucky to be in the draft. When she pulls back, her smile is small, tired, but there. Hope, version 2.0. I want to say a dozen things, but all I manage is, no titles, just us. She nods, whispering it back, and it feels like closing a loop we didn't know we'd started. Later, when she walks me to the door, she says, "This doesn't erase what you did." I don't want it to, I tell her. I just want to earn the rest. Outside, the city hums the same as it always has. But tonight, it sounds a little like forgiveness.